Hi, welcome to the Drama Free Living Podcast with your hosts, Dennis and Lisa McIntee. And Lisa, it's been fun the last couple weeks on the podcast. We've been talking about this idea of character and competency, sort of the two ways that really confidence is built. And we just want to encourage people. We got the inspiration from Speed of Trust, so we'll put away for you to even buy the book. It's a fantastic book, but we just wanted to maybe talk about some of our ideas and maybe walk through some different strategies that we've discovered really over 30 years.
Absolutely, because your competence can take you somewhere, but if your character is not there, your character won't keep you there.
And I think how many times have we seen that, whether it's in sports, politics, just all different areas, they really are super important. I think it's the idea that big leaders, if you can become bigger, you produce big people. Like attracts like, you attract who you really are. And it's the key to building big teams is not just work on your competency and being great at your skill, but also working on your character. And we want to kind of dive back into character a little bit and talk about that because really it's about becoming the best leader that you were designed to be.
Absolutely.
Being the best person you were designed to be. And so we want to talk today really about intent. This whole idea of motive and our perception of intent really has a huge impact on our confidence because people are always making conclusions or coming up with stories about why we do what we do. So maybe you can kind of kick us off today.
So this is the aspect of character. Mm-hmm. So we've got our character and we've got our competency, and we've got those are the two legs of confidence.
Yep.
And part of competency and character is intent. And that would be, one way would be caring motive.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
So people don't truly know how much you care. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Right, and that's an old John Maxwell quote.
Right. So it's like they really don't
though.
They don't care what you say because they don't really feel it from you. But how do you show care?
It's a great question because we know leaders that they really do care. But then when we visit their teams and see their culture, we discover their people don't even think they care. But they do.
Their people have no idea that they actually care. And so it's important how you show care, but it's also important to know that the people in your life that you want to feel the care, what does care mean to them? What does feeling cared for mean? And that would be just a matter of getting to know your team, getting to know the people around you. Because you don't want to be married and raise kids for years and years and years, love them to pieces, and then realize 30 years into it, wow, they didn't even think you cared.
That would be really bad. And it's this idea where you want to go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. And how many team members, they just feel tolerated. And then we wonder, well, why did they leave? And how do we celebrate our team? How do we celebrate people in our lives? And a lot of times it's recognizing them, because if I don't recognize you, I'll never celebrate you. If I don't recognize the value you bring and I'm not thankful for the value you bring. And many times we can compensate people, and sometimes that big compensation we think it's just the same as celebration. And they're really two different things, compensation and celebration, two different ideas.
Absolutely. And part of that celebration would be gratitude. Expressing gratitude and appreciation is one way of showing a caring motive, because it takes time to recognize and see and pull out the gold in another person. It's not all, if you did this better, but it's also, hey, looking in the past and looking at who you are, I'm very thankful and grateful for these are the things you've done, but truly addressing the person and not the action.
And really it's pulling out the gold that's on the inside of them. And part of it is just speaking to the gold. We had a particular conversation with a team member just last week, and she was asking us, hey, I really want to step in and do this. And her big question to us was, do you think I can do it? Do you think it's valuable? And I sat there and I was amazed, because I thought, of course it's valuable. But what she really needed is she needed us to speak into that and call that out of her. And it's really calling out the royalty, the king on the inside of you, calling out the gold, because people typically behave how you believe them to be.
And a lot of times people just need permission.
Yeah.
It's not that they're asking permission, but they need to feel permission. And along with this, caring motive involves your body language and your tone, because you could be expressing gratitude, but if you are carrying the stress of the day and the weight of the world on your shoulders, your body language isn't going to come across as caring or soft or empathetic, or even your tone. If you just got off of a intense call with a client where it was essentially a shouting match, and then you're turning around to address a team member, you're going to inadvertently carry that tone and carry that residual emotion in with you into that conversation, and it's actually going to come across as harsh. There's that saying, be strong but not hard. A man we knew from years ago, that was something that he said. It's really stuck with me. Be strong, but not hard.
You don't have to be harsh, right? That tone doesn't have to be harsh. It can be very straightforward. It can be few words. It can be direct, but it doesn't need to be demeaning.
And
Let it be direct, but don't have it be demeaning.
And a caring motive can be strong, but what makes it caring is it's not harsh. It's full of empathy. It's full of gentleness, and truly, it's pulling out the gold and believing the best in other people and believing in their capabilities and their possibilities.
Well, and it goes back to the 4 C's of teamwork that we did some podcast episode maybe 6 months ago, where you care enough to confront. You care enough to step in and have the hard conversation. And sometimes care looks like, I'm going to have a hard conversation. I don't need to be demeaning or derogatory or ugly or harsh, but I can tell you the truth, but in the right tone. And many times when people do that to me, Lisa, I feel I'm thankful. Thank you for telling me the truth. I had no idea. It was a blind spot. Thank you so much.
You don't always feel that way, but that's the response you want.
Yeah, it's the mindset that I want to carry. And there's an interesting survey that says that only 42% of employees believe that management cares about them at all.
Yeah. That's why we're having issues with the Great Resignation.
Yeah, and so really having this caring motive. But that's not all. There's this whole idea of seeking mutual benefit, right? Having the agenda that I'm going to act in the best interest of others. And what we have discovered is that when corporate goals and personal goals align, that's when the magic happens. And really figuring out, how do we make the personal goals and the corporate goals, like how do I make like our organization's goals and our team members' goals, how do I make them fuse and align together? Because when that happens, we don't have to motivate teams. They become self-motivated, but we have this mutual agenda. And one question I always kind of ask when I'm thinking about mutual benefit is, am I seeking to bless or am I seeking to impress?
And that reminds me of the GPS framework that we have.
Absolutely.
We have our course, Emotionally Intelligent, how to be more interactive and less reactive.
GPS framework is in that.
And we go into depth with the GPS framework, and that is all about having that mutual agenda and really bringing your team on your team and you on theirs. So you are going after what your life goals are together.
And because people do things for their own reasons. And when we can discover that and then align them together, one skill that we've walked through with some of our consulting clients and also in the roundtable is this whole idea is that if goals sometimes are set at the C-level, like in the boardroom, and we don't have any feedback from other team members, we found that really people at the front line don't really even care about what the corporate goals are, right? For example, hey, we're going to, increase profits by 10%. Well, if I'm a frontline employee of a large organization, I'm not excited about that. But if I can communicate, hey, we're going to increase profit by 10% so that everybody gets a raise. Oh, I can care about this whole idea of this is why, or so that, or in order to, and you figure out ways to align personal goals to corporate goals, motivation happens automatically.
And this is not a gimmicky thing.
Absolutely,
so it's not, okay, we're going to
It's
bring
not a slogan.
It's not a slogan. It's not a gimmick, because people can see through that.
Absolutely. So really kind of having that mutual benefit. So Wayne Dyer has this quote I just wanted to read. He said, the measure of your life will not be in what you accumulate, but in what you give away. And I always think about with our team members, if I can become a bigger giver in their life, I'm always going to end up receiving more. It's just the law of life. It's seed time and harvest. A farmer sows and he reaps a harvest. And so having this mentality of I'm going to continue to give to team members. So, and then that's not also, we've got like, just genuine caring, seeking mutual benefit. But we also have this idea of demonstrating respect.
Demonstrating respect. Respect is a huge word right now.
Huge.
And how do you truly demonstrate respect? Respect it's care for others, and it's showing it.
Okay.
It's not something that you demand. I can't demand respect from you. It's something that you have to give. And so I can care for others and I can show it. I can treat everyone with respect, especially those that can't do anything for me. So
That's powerful right there.
If the person down the hallway cannot do anything for me, but yet I treat them with respect. I treat them with care and concern because they're a human.
Yeah.
And because they are placed on this earth just like I am, and they have passions and struggles and goals, and they have people that love them. It's what we do because it's who we are.
Yeah.
Now, what it's not is it's not. Obviously, it's not showing disrespect, and
Right.
it's not caring for others, but people will feel it. If you don't respect them, they will feel it. You cannot fake. You can't fake it because it will be felt. People will see your motives, and also being careful about showing respect for some people and not for others. So you show respect, or you treat the celebrity that walks in better than you treat the coworker in the cubicle next to you. People are going to see that. That's disingenuous. They'll read right through it, and they won't feel respect at all. They'll actually feel used as a result. And so, you have to be able to look in the mirror and be happy with you and happy with your choices, no matter what. If my coworker down in the cubicle behind me is just
ugly
slandering
or mean
me or ugly or even just having a rough day or a rough season, because sometimes the season of life you're in comes out in disrespect. So there is a little bit of grace to be had for that. Yeah. But I have to know that no matter what someone else does, I have to live with myself. And I have to look at myself in the mirror at the end of the day and know that I have not poisoned my internal life.
Yeah, and I think, Lisa, we respect people just because basically we're all humans. Mm-hmm. We've all made mistakes, and so you respect their humanity. They're human beings. We're all human beings. And so whether I disagree politically, or I disagree with your ideas, or I disagree with your lifestyle, I respect you because you're a person. You are a human just like I am a human. And we all make mistakes. And I think as we continue, we've talked about in earlier episodes about having grace for ourselves. I know that when I have more grace for myself, it's a lot easier to have grace for other people. And I think that's part of the key, because people feel that. People feel that grace. And what was it that you can measure a person's character by how well they treat the people that serve them? Right? Things like waiters or wait staff or front desk people.
The people in the drive-through.
Right. How well do you treat them? And Lisa, I'm fascinated because some of our clients in the roundtable, they're contractors, or they're landscaper or home builders. And how do people treat contractors? Right? How do you treat maybe somebody that is cleaning your house, or is doing a service for you? How do you treat them? And we've discovered, even working with contractors, is sometimes they don't treat contractors super nice.
No, so just this week, a couple days ago, we had a crew out in our yard, and they were working on our beds and mulching and things like that. And I try to treat the crew that's out in my yard the same way I would treat my kids or
a celebrity.
Or a celebrity that walked in. Just being genuinely interested in them, caring for them, and not brushing them off. And if I am in a hurry, communicating that well. But at the end of the day, I was walking through the yard, and he just wanted to make sure that I approved of the things that they did. And we weren't really even talking, but then he just brought up, he says, I shouldn't even be here. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, that I'm from Pennsylvania and just came back. And then he started to get choked up. And he said, my younger brother just killed himself.
Yeah.
And last week or the week before, and I was up there, and so I really shouldn't even be there. I should be back up there. And
It's like he just gave you something very personal. He opened up his heart to you where you could be able to speak to that.
and it was not contrived. It was genuine, because I was just being a human to another human. It wasn't me as the homeowner and them as the
Servant.
right, as the contractor or the person just getting the work done.
Yeah.
But when we open ourselves up and we respect other people, it gives the opportunity for transparency, regardless of your occupation or your station in life or your success or failures.
Well, it works like that way with the team is as we're transparent, people open up and they allow us to transform them and take them to a different place. And it takes our organization to a different place.
And with this gentleman, I didn't even have any answers. I think he just needed to say it. He just needed to be able to say it because it's inside him. And how beautiful of a world we would create if we could go around to whoever we're with and just be real and demonstrate respect to each other, regardless of how successful you think I am or not.
Yeah, it's like really creating beautiful organizations, right? We develop beautiful people, they create beautiful organizations.
I love that.
Right? Yeah, it really is. Okay, and then the next one, when we think about intent, is really right the wrongs, because we do make mistakes, and we say things we shouldn't say at times. I mean, I've been called out sometimes during a roundtable meeting or even at some keynotes that I've done where it just fell out of my mouth. And wow, I probably shouldn't have said that. But be able to go back and kind of right those wrongs. And I think the key idea is, do you operate in humility or courage or ego and pride? In just this last week, I remember I thought about something I said and I thought, that's not right. And it took me about 2 days to get this person on the phone. But I said, hey, I need you to let you know I said this and that wasn't quite accurate. And
That you misspoke.
That I misspoke. And his level of respect, I realized it went up a level. Like sometimes we think like, oh, they're going to like be mad or they're going, and it does just the opposite. When you right the wrongs, people tend to like have more confidence in you, not less confidence in you. But I think in our minds, we think, oh, we're going to lose the confidence of that person. But no, it shows people they're human and also gives them permission to talk about maybe where they were wrong and they need to right some wrongs.
Well, it also deepens their level of trust in you.
Yeah.
So it deepens their level of their belief in your character and their belief in your intent.
Now, here's what's also fascinating about a heartfelt apology is it typically takes the sword out of people's hands. I mean, how many times does something happen and I am just mad and they say, hey, Dennis, I missed it. I'm really sorry. Listen, I'm going to make it right. I'm going to do this and this. I can't go, well, and you know what else? And it's like, it just sort of like zaps all that energy out of it.
And not only does it take it out of their hands, but then other people see it.
Yeah.
And they feel happily disarmed. So we were
happily disarmed.
We were recently looking for where we were going to go for vacation with our kids. We were looking on a website to find a house to rent. And
are we not saying that website?
And then we went and we found all these great places. Yeah. And we were thinking, okay, well, I'm not sure about this. It looks really good. Let me go through and look at the reviews. And
there are review checkers in the world.
Some of them are good, and there's a couple of them that were almost scathing.
Yeah.
And it makes me doubt, okay, I'm not sure that I want to stay at this house because this review is not very good. But then the ones that have the responses on, hey, I'm so sorry that this happened and it wasn't a good experience. We are working. We appreciate your feedback. We're working to create improvements, and this will help our future guests. And as our way of making it up to you, we would love for you to contact us next time you're around, and we'll give you a free night, or we'll give you something like that. And after I read that, I thought, I probably would actually stay there.
Yeah, it's like your confidence just increased.
Because they wronged someone and that person let everyone know.
Right.
And they in turn did their best to right that wrong. And I thought, okay, even though something bad happened, I feel pretty confident because if that happens to me, you're also going to try to right your wrong with me.
Well, and we teach all of our clients this idea of service recovery because we all make mistakes. We have team members that make mistakes, but it's not the mistake that destroys a relationship. It's the lack of recovery.
Right.
Because I know even with our clients, I'm not afraid of a complaint. I'm not afraid of conflict. But what I am afraid of is people going dark. Because when you come to us with a complaint or a conflict, what you're really saying is, I still want to work with you. I just have this obstacle, this issue, this challenge, something I don't agree with or I don't like. Can you help me work through this so that we can continue our relationship?
Or maybe they don't want to continue to work with us, but they still want to continue the relationship. And they're saying, this is what happened, and I would like for you to make it right so we can continue on in our relationship.
And really great service recovery increases people's confidence. You actually deepen the relationship. The problem I know is when people go dark and we don't even know.
And we cannot make things right, and you can't right the wrongs because you don't even know that they feel wronged.
And it's definitely
or that you wronged them.
And so, Lisa, let's just kind of bring up like trigger identifier, because that's another great way to think through how do you recover from situations, right? Because a situation happens, you go through a circumstance, somebody says something, and it triggers you.
And it creates a whole slew of feelings that you react out of.
And you don't know how to recover from that. So what we want to do for everybody listening is we're going to put that in the show notes. Go get your trigger identifier. We've talked about it in multiple podcast episodes. And Lisa, you know what? I know there are some people out there, they still haven't done it. I mean, can you believe it? Haven't done it. So it's in the show notes, whether you're watching on YouTube, you're listening wherever you listen to podcasts on, just click the link, go get your trigger identifier. And it's a fantastic tool to really walk through how do you do a recovery?
And how do you right your wrongs? Because this is what I need. So something, you've been wronged or you wronged someone and you think, okay, what do I need? What do I need to feel better? And then what do I need from someone else? And it's
just getting clear on that.
Getting clear on your thoughts and ideas on what happened in that situation where a wrong occurred.
And Lisa, what I love about the tool that you've created is it really helps people see patterns. And you're an expert at patterns, at seeing patterns and really taking learning from the patterns. And really this is just, it's a pattern identifier. We call it trigger identifier. It's probably more of a pattern identifier. I think I just changed the name, didn't I?
I think you just changed the name. And I love finding patterns and discovering patterns. And as you work through the trigger identifier, you'll be able to go through it more quickly. At first, it'll take some time to work through it on paper. And maybe the first time you'll only get halfway through. The next time there's a situation that happens, you'll be able to pull through a little farther and eventually get to the point where you just do it in your head. You've created that muscle memory, that synapse is connected, and you can just do it in your head immediately. And
you can change behavior quickly.
And you can change behavior quickly, begin to see the patterns. And it's kind of a fun It's a fun game. It's a fun tool.
Because the reality is we all do things for a good reason. We behave for a very good reason, right? The problem is we just don't know what that reason is. And it
helps us discover the reason.
It does. And if I know the reason, behavior change becomes a lot easier. A lot of times we just sort of grin and bear it and try to like force different behavior. But if you don't get down to the root of that, it'll keep coming back up. Mm-hmm. And I love, so did we talk about emotionally intelligent? It's coming out soon, okay? A lot of people have asked us about emotionally intelligent, the new online course. So be on the lookout. It is coming out soon because the reason I thought about it is we really cover that in a strong way, how to like see patterns and really change behavior quickly. But Lisa, we got one more point that we want to cover about intent and really growing your character is this whole idea of showing loyalty.
Yeah.
Right. And really this takes gratitude and recognition. And it's really about giving credit to other people. And there have been times I will just tell you we will have a conversation and you throw a great idea and it just kind of lodges in my brain. And if I'm not careful, I'll go out and go, hey, I got an idea. And you and I'll have a conversation afterwards. You go, did you have that idea or did I have that idea? And I'm like, you had that idea. but it just sort of lodged in my brain. So it's one thing that I'm working on, really giving credit to others. And it's almost this idea of speak as if others were present.
And that's a big deal because a lot of times we will talk one way in public and a different way in private, whether it's in private with your coworker or your family. That if you speak as if there's always a microphone present, or as if there's always,
or like you're always on YouTube,
or if you're always on YouTube,
right?
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be horrible.
That would be. What is that movie?
That Big Brother show or something? I
No,
the reality. Oh, the Truman Show.
The Truman Show. Yes, that would be my worst nightmare.
Well, the good news is he never knew he was on camera.
So
okay, we digress.
You speak as if there are others present all the time. And what it does is it puts a filter on your mouth, and it puts a filter on your actions, and it even puts a filter on your emotions. You think twice before you act. And people are beginning to do this. So you're out and about and there's something happens, maybe it's a car accident, whatever else. You do not know how many phones are being pulled out and videoing you at the time. And so if you think that if at any given moment there is a phone videoing and somebody's putting it up live on the internet and you act that way all the time, think of all of the disasters that you are avoiding, personal disasters and character incompetence.
You know, I will always remember there's a particular time where maybe I wasn't on my best behavior and it was at home and you said, Dennis, how would you act if a client was sitting right here? And I was like, wow, I would not act this way. And how many times do we go out with clients or go out into the marketplace and we have a certain mask on, but then we come home and we're somebody different. It's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And we just want to encourage you, like, show loyalty to those people that matter the most too. So here's an interesting Stephen Covey quote. He said, to retain those who are present, be loyal to those who are absent. How powerful is that?
That's good.
Right? Because people know if you talk behind their back. And if you wouldn't say it to their face, then don't say it. And don't say it if that person is not a part of the solution, don't have a conversation about this issue. One of the worst things I know for me is when people involve me in a conversation and I can't really have a solution. I'm not really a part of the solution. And then I have to carry that information. I mean, that puts me in a difficult position when you share things with me and I'm not part of the solution. So really kind of showing loyalty. So it's acknowledging other people's contributions, right? Hey, it was this person's idea. And how many times, if we're not careful, do leaders sort of they get an idea from their team and then they go to their higher up and say, hey, I got an idea.
And even if you got that idea from someone that you employ, and you cannot justify it by saying, well, I'm paying them for their ideas. I'm paying them for that. It's still disingenuous.
Yeah, and it really shows people that you really don't care about who they are. It kind of goes back to that very first point. So, Lisa, this has been fun. What's the thing that's kind of popping out in your brain? You're thinking, oh, I thought this was really helpful for me.
So I would never want my life to be like the Truman Show. I just
that would be horrible.
I would want to. No, truly though, I want to live as if other people are present all of the time. If there's always a camera on me, not out of that pressure of, oh my gosh, I need to put on a show everywhere I go, but just being genuine. I don't want to be disingenuous, and because that would be too much pressure to actually live with two personalities inside me. Yeah. I just want to be one. Yeah, that's really good. And that's probably a life goal.
Yeah, and you do it really well. And so I mean, we
have years of practice.
Well, and we go to Seaside a lot, and I always think when we're at Seaside there at 30A, and I think about like the Truman Show, and I think, I want to be the same. But I want to be the same in Seaside. I want to be the same where we live in Greenville, South Carolina, or San Francisco, or wherever I happen to be in the world.
I don't think we go to Seaside that much.
We go to Seaside. Well, we've been there. I'm going to go our second time. Third time?
Probably third time.
Third time. Okay. I misspoke.
Just keeping you genuine.
You know what? I appreciate that. Yeah. I think for me is demonstrating respect, right? And really looking out and respecting people because they're human. And really having this idea of no matter who you are, I'm going to treat you the same. So this has been fun. Listen, if you do not have the trigger identifier, please download it. It's our gift to you, no charge. We just want to bless you and just serve you. And so this has been great, Lisa. And we'll see you next time on the Drama Free Living podcast.